What is up, Ravens Flock? Huge shout out for your support for the 410 Sports Talk. James and Glenn are the best in the business. They're killing it right now. They love talking Raven talk. Make sure you go subscribe to their channel. Let's go Ravens. Big trust.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell along with my co-host Glenn Martin. Right now, we're not gonna waste any time. We're gonna get right into it. You guys saw the news. That's why we're putting out the video. You probably see the title of the video. Za'Darius Smith has decided to burn the Baltimore Ravens and change his mind. He push aside the deal. He's still a free agent. He is not. Well, after verbally accepting the offer from the Ravens and this big announcement, he's decided not to come back to Baltimore. Big news for the Baltimore Ravens. Glenn, the floor is yours, my friend.
Jimbo, I'm pissed off, okay? As a Ravens fan, I am pissed off at Za'Darius Smith. There's one thing I know. Look, I'm only 34 years old, but I consider myself a grown man who has, that my name and my word means something to me, right? And when I agree to something, I first make sure I think about that thing before I just willy-nilly start agreeing to stuff. But once I think about it and make my decision and agree to it, then that's it. That's the final thing. There's no backing out of an original agreement, especially one to this magnitude, right? That, like, I wouldn't back out of an agreement. Like, if I tell a buddy, hey, look, I'll pick you up from the airport. And then, a couple other buddies call, like, hey, you want to go on a bar crawl, or, you want to do this? I'm not going to call them up and say something better came up because I made an agreement. I made it a verbal contract, if you will, that I was going to do something for someone. And so I live up to that. I say, no, you know what? I already made an agreement. I have plans. And man, as much as I'd like to, I have this going on. This man made a verbal agreement to come here for a certain amount of money. And then because he saw, here's what happened, Jimbo. He saw what the dummy Bills gave Von Miller, $20 million a year to a 32-year-old for the next 6 years. He's not going to be playing it. You think he's going to be playing at 38 and earning that $20 million? I don't think so. He saw what he got. He saw what Chandler Jones got. And he said, you know what? I want more. And the Ravens are like, well, wait. You said you would play for this amount. We had an agreement. We have it written up. All we need is your signature and this thing's done. And this guy tries to change the freaking terms on the Ravens at the last possible second. Unacceptable. That is a shady move. That's a dirtbag move. And look, you don't use a team like the Ravens who, treat everyone with the utmost respect, run a family-like organization. You don't treat them as a way to drive your cost up. You don't use them as a bargaining tool. That's unacceptable. So I think Za'Darius Smith owes the Ravens flock and, of course, the Ravens organization a big, heartfelt apology. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is something, when I saw the Cowboys going through this with Randy Gregory, it's the Cowboys. But I just did not expect to see that, not just with a potential Raven, but a former Raven possibly returning. That is unbelievable. I mean, that's just a slap in the face of the organization, and I'm extremely disappointed in Za'Darius Smith. And it was a huge waste of our time making that damn video, how excited we were to have him back in Baltimore.
Yeah, we graded him on an A. We were all excited about the fact. Look, I said, see, this is what happens when I put my head in the ground. I said, you know what? We're going to disregard the back. We're going to forget about it. Everything is blissful and great. As a fun fact, because you brought up the word dirtbag.
Yeah.
The Cal State Long Beach baseball team are the dirtbags.
Interesting.
So
he could be their mascot.
He just run out there. Big old T-shirt on that says "dirt bag."
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I understand your point. This is the only caveat, like, that keeps me from being upset about this deal. Two things: I know that the Ravens will do productive things with the money, so I trust them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that tempers my anger a bit. While I understand completely your point, but the other thing is this: man, it would be hard. Like, if he goes out there and gets 16 mil a year for the next 4 years instead of, what was he going to get? Like 8.5 or
well, with if he got to the incentives, what was it? 4 for 50 if he reached 50? The incentives. So what's that? 12 and a half.
Man. So, like, gosh, I get it, but that verbal contract might be out the window for me if I'm getting an extra $5 million a year, $4
Well,
million.
let's see what he ends up getting
I
first
hear
and
you. I
foremost.
hear you
But
100%.
you don't agree to it. I get
Right.
negotiations.
Right.
That's
Sit it on the
fine.
table. Sit
Yeah.
it on the table. But this is the other thing too. I'm sure the Ravens are like, hey, there's a timestamp on this.
Well, I'm sure that when he came back and said, no, I want more, they were probably, first of all, offended. And they were probably like, what? Wait a minute. What happened to yesterday when you said
Yeah.
we were good? Now it's
Yeah.
a different.
However, think about this, Glenn. We just got out of a contract of a 30-plus-year-old guy with a back injury.
Yeah.
Like,
And we
he's
can certainly.
productive.
Yeah.
But I think that because of the multitude of holes we have to fill, I think it could be a good thing.
Could be a
Because
blessing in disguise here.
yeah, it could be one of those for sure. Because you know,
Mm.
yeah, we have a number of holes we need to fill. I totally get it. I'm not trying to take a side because certainly it was a whack. I mean, it was a ridiculous thing.
Look, let me just be clear. I have no problem if his agent and him looked for the most lucrative deal, if that's what mattered most to them, and then that's the deal they chose. The
Right.
problem I have is that you enter into a verbal agreement and then at the last moment you back out. That's the issue.
Yeah. Right. No, and that's a great point of contention. Like, don't say yes if you don't mean it.
Exactly.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, newsflash: Glenn isn't a big fan of divorce. Don't say yes if you don't mean it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, I get
Why sign on the dotted line?
Exactly. And this is a little different. This is like if you ask for a divorce the day after the honeymoon. That's like
yeah, this is like an annulment. Like
this isn't 25 years we grew up, into the relationship we grew apart. This is like the night of and you're caught cheating with the housekeeper. Like this is unacceptable.
So what do you think his market ends up being? I mean, I don't think he does this unless his agent is like, hey, look, like you're going to burn a bridge, but I got something in the hand. It's one of those things where it's like, what's the saying? One bird in the bush is better than, what is it? One bird in the hand
is worth more than two in the bush.
Two in the bush. Yeah. So like there must be.
That's an old saying. You don't know.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of surprising.
What do you think? What do you think about what they
probably
like? What do you get?
Probably get 16, 17, like you said.
There's no way he gets Chandler Jones money though.
Well, the only thing holding him back from that is the injury, because production-wise, when he's on the field, it's hard to argue with whatever he wants to ask for, because the guy win rate and pressure rate is right up there with the Aaron Donalds of the world. So I think that he has an argument, as long as you can look past the recent back injury, that he should be paid as high as any pass rusher available in the market, especially when you consider the versatility that he brings in that he can rush from the inside or the outside. I think he could command a lot of money, but I don't think this is the way you conduct business. I don't think that's an honorable way to conduct business. And people might get on here and say, oh, there's, no honor in this. This is, take advantage of the short time you have. And I certainly understand that, but you don't verbally agree to something just as a bargaining chip. I disagree with that tactic.
Yeah, I hear you. 100%.
But let me say this. Here's the main reason I'm pissed off. Jimmy, who the hell is going to rush the passer when they double team Odafe Owe? That's why I'm pissed off, really, when it comes down to it. Like, that was a major hole, and I thought they filled it with a certainly a very competent piece. So back to the drawing board when it comes to pass rush. And does this mean we have to go back to the old bargain shopping? And is Justin Houston or possibly who's the guy from the Bills that I was talking about yesterday? He's 34. He still has.
Dang it! What is his name? He like
Hughes,
never slows
Jerry
down.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Are they back to going for one of these aging veterans, and we're trying to drain the last bit of football out of them?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I also think, Glenn, I want to say it's too early to tell. Like, they could. But it also from the edge rusher perspective, it's not like there's a ton of names out there. We'd have to get pretty creative at this point if we're not going right to that scenario that you're mentioning, right? Like, a lot of guys are already gobbled up, right? I mean, and for good reason. So, man, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with him. I agree with you 100%. I'm upset about it, and it's frustrating. I had a big sigh when I saw it, but immediately my mind went to, okay, what can Eric do with this money? How much more in value can we get out of this money in the form of multiple players?
Now,
Multiple
any last
positions.
question. Any chance that this is salvageable? He goes out and he comes back. Any chance? Or is this a done deal? The bridge is now completely aflame.
Yeah, I think it's a flame in ashes, underwater, in a trunk. Right?
Okay.
Like he's got
all right.
rocks in his pocket and he's swimming with the fishes. You know what I mean? Like to the Baltimore Ravens, right? Like that's just
Dang.
kind of
It's gonna be one of those things where they don't even talk. They don't even say his name. He's like Voldemort now. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
exactly. He who must not be named.
yes. They're so angry with him that they don't even speak his name anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I would. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, like if it's logical, then I could see Eric DeCosta doing it if he was like, "Hey, I missed out. I swung and I missed. Didn't get what I wanted." And Eric say, "Okay, you can take less. This is what I have." Like one of those things with your kids where you're like, "Okay, you got to go to bed in 10 minutes," and they're like, "No, you know what? 5."
Yeah. Let's make it 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those things. That's
He
the only
comes
way I can
back.
see it happening, right?
It's like $1 million less annually when he comes
Or
back.
it could be, what if it's a 1-year deal? Like he doesn't get a
Yeah.
long-term deal. It could end up being a 1-year deal. But I
Of course, a
seriously doubt
1-year deal is tough with the cap situation.
I guess that's true. That's a good point. But I seriously, I think Za'Darius is pretty much dead to the Baltimore Ravens. But let us know what you guys' thoughts are. Are you as heated as Glenn? Are you kind of happy that a guy who maybe didn't in his heart of hearts want to be here didn't end up here? What are your thoughts? What do you think Eric does with the money? Leave all your comments below and we'll talk to you guys soon.